joined by my really good friend today, James. Some of you have been seeing him around the production community for years now. Today, we're going to be talking about what do you do as a head of product, which I gotta say, congratulations, by the way, man, because we met almost, gosh, 7, 8 years ago. Time flew
Yeah.
by like this, and we're both kind of starting out at the time. But congratulations on the head of product move, man.
No, thank you. I mean, much thanks to you to kick my career off, right? Or help kick that career off. And it's been a hell of a journey, ups and downs. But yeah, I'm really excited about this opportunity. These guys are working on some pretty neat stuff and are are confident enough to pivot when needed. And so I think it's a really unique time to join the team and really excited for it.
100%, 100%. And you've been over there since, like, I saw on your LinkedIn, you've been there since like August. So like let's talk about like a few things I think everybody want really like the typical things like people really wants to know about, like the typical day of like a head of product, what's the difference? How do you even get the interview? Obviously,
Sure.
you don't need to drop numbers, but like everybody's always interested in learning a little bit about comp. Let's get into it, man. So like what does the typical day look like for a head of product compared to a product manager?
Sure. I think the biggest difference is who you're interfacing with earlier on in your day. And so, if you're a product manager or a senior product manager, or even at the director level, right, where you're seeing day-to-day operations, day-to-day product development effort, right? You're working with the ground level, the developers and the engineers that are actually putting the work forth, right? Writing the code on a daily basis, working with your product designers and UX designers to craft wireframes and experiences, right? Um, Ahead of product, you're actually speaking with all of the product managers managing those different efforts, right? And so you might not be working with your end engineer as much, uh, more so taking time with the management teams to understand progress, what some of the fires for the day or the week might look like, right? And the biggest thing is aligning the team on priority, I'd say.
100%, 100%. How did you like, there's not a lot of companies. I mean, there's definitely like some that's like we're looking for a head of product where usually it's like the first head of product that they ever had. But how do you even get the interview in the first place, man?
Yeah, I mean, I've experienced that quite a bit in the past, being like a really early product hire on a lean team. Um, it's similar to what we had, put into practice years ago, right? It's a numbers game, and so just understanding just understanding the market, um, playing the numbers, getting as many apps out there as possible. But in my case, I was looking for more senior opportunities, and so I also, in tandem with that effort, right? I just wanted to make sure that I'm reaching out to the right people, right? Because the reality is that a lot of these really senior level opportunities aren't going to be thrown on a job board as quickly as, a sort of middle management or base level product opportunities, right? They're looking to sort of cast a net with their private networks first
Mhm.
because there's such a high level of accountability that comes with the role and the hire, right? Um, it's like any other job. Referrals go a fairly long way, depending on who is making the referral, obviously. But an executive team, an executive team or a
100%.
founding, that you know for damn sure. Um, but yeah, an executive or founding team, right? When they're going to make their first or like founding product hire, right? They're expecting a whole lot out of that person, and so they're tapping their personal networks, going back to other product folks that they've worked with in the past, and makes checking to see if there are any um, people in their personal networks that are looking for an opportunity like this. But yeah, I think it's a combination of a numbers game. In my case, it actually came down to a relationship, right? Um, I had a friend that was working closely with the team that understood where they were in their business journey, requiring a very aggressive pivot, and wanting a really scrappy product leader that had the startup experience, right? And so it just happened to kind of fall into my lap. Had a great conversation with their CEO, right? And the big thing, and I think another big difference between a head of product hire and your typical product hire is you're coming in with ideas, right? You're not being told what to do. You're coming in guns blazing, like great platform. This is why it fucking sucks today, right? And this is where I could take it to, right? And so I think being really confident and proactive about how you approach these opportunities is probably what set me apart from the other candidates, right?
100%. I was actually watching this I was scrolling through like Instagram like crazy last night and I saw this like short by Tom Ford. And he said like I hate the word. He's like doing like a 60 minutes interview and he said like I hate the word marketing. It's like I'm not saying marketing is not important, but he's like, if you don't look good in a pair of jeans that we make, no amount of marketing is going to go ahead and say that. He's
That's
like,
true.
if the product itself is actually good, right? So I think it's so much easier when you can deliver results. Especially if I know like in the past like year, you've done like a lot of stuff with like AI, and I also know like you've done a lot of stuff with like Airtable. Like when the product itself, the person is actually make it easier for somebody to go out there and pitch you. If you legitimately have something to offer, you should never really be afraid that you're not going to have a job. You don't need like the marketing and the packaging.
For sure.
Yeah, 100%, man. So like, I mean, there's like a lot of myths, but like compared to being a product manager versus like a head of product, I mean, which role would you rather be playing?
I think the head of product role is tied very closely, if not directly, to the performance of the business, right? Whereas your ground level or your middle management sort of product manager is responsible for a feature or a platform, right? Or a
100%.
user experience, right? I've always wanted that ownership. I think I've also done the entrepreneur experience and I've crashed miserably doing it. But to be solely responsible or heavily responsible for the success of a business, for driving revenue, right? For building strategy that the team will implement and live or die by, I think it comes with a specific type of personality. I think product managers are generally built for that in their journey, right? And their day to day, but it's kind of leveling that responsibility and accountability up. And so, yeah, I think that's if I had to choose, I choose to be the head of product, and that's why I'm in the position today. Like, it's because I want to be tied to I want the business to be tied to my performance, um, so that I can reap the benefits of what I deliver. Right. That's always been what I wanted to put myself on the hook for, and I was fortunate enough to land this opportunity that actually, um, long story short, is my performance and my compensation is very closely coupled together. So that's something else that you might find to be fairly typical as well.
I think your side hustle journey, I think also spoke volumes in the interview because like being able to interface with like so many different types of businesses and so many types of business owners, right, really shows that speaks, I think, like from an owner perspective right here. I think especially with ChatGPT, if I'm thinking about one of the things that I used to talk about at the New York office, which used to come by a lot when we were there, like every single day in the office, like the one of the principal challenges with founders, especially at the startup level, and a lot of the head of product positions are going to be with startups, and a lot of times you are going to be the first head product, is the principal challenge for business owners is that when they are the ones running the project and when they are the ones driving the initiative, they actually are able to go out there and move that entire process through because extremely impatient, want to go out there and get things done, has that ownership, has skin in the game. So it's
Sure.
just when you have that level of ownership, like you're gonna go out there and be like, okay, what do we need to get done? Like what's blocking us? Blah 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 blah. Let's get okay, you do this. When you have like foot soldiers that are like just like, oh, tell me what to do and I'll go out there and do it, they usually don't get things done as fast. And one of the things that this one guy that was a startup founder, I don't know if you remembered him when Oh yeah, the dude who actually. What am I talking about? This guy like some imaginary stranger. Paul, the guy that we had Korean barbecue with during COVID, right?
Yep.
Yeah, the data
Oh,
scientist.
that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
smart
yeah.
guy.
That worked at Pico and scaled. He was doing a bunch of side hustles and scaled up his own agency. Did very well. Married a local,
Yeah,
and
that's right. That's right. I've heard.
out there. We miss you, man. You're watching this. But like he's like the thing I never forget him say is like the middle manager position is the hardest position to train up, and it's also the hardest person. Is like, do you trust this person to
Yeah.
just go out there and just drive resources, and just drive like initiatives, right? So I think like for the people that really are ready to step up into that leadership position, a great way for them to get their feet wet is to go out there and do some consulting work, start building up your own brand, start putting your name out there a little bit more, which is what our side hustle course is actually teaching people to do. And it will change your outlook on like how you approach this game. And I think it also changes the way that, you know, like in the mafia, there's like two types of people in there, soldiers and earners, right? And
Yep.
there's just not enough earners that are out in the field. So if you're a real earner, like the way that you communicate is different and they feel it. Like off channel, what you told me about the interview, your interview process was pretty swift because it's like,
Yeah,
yep,
yeah.
you
Yep.
know,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
you run the docks now,
Uh, Absolutely. I think the big thing is that they want to be confident that you could do the most with the least, right? And again, I unfortunately never had the opportunity to work for a Meta where you have like a project manager, a scrum master, a product ops person, right? To just be your sort of team of lieutenants. Whereas the head of product role, right? Um, you're either managing an existing team or you're helping to build the team out, right? In either case, you need to have a pretty strong vision for what that team is going, how the team is going to operate, right? Whether you're building it from the ground up or you're whipping an existing team into shape, right? Which is typically why they're looking for a new head of product, right? And so that experience, having worked for myself, having driven every work stream as the sole leader, right? And also communicating that effort with business leaders and owners, obviously went a long way. And to your point, it's going through the process of building my agency and brand over the last 2 years is what established that relationship that got me the role, right? Uh, because he already knew some of my background and the work I've done. It was a whole lot easier to for him to build that trust with me. And so, yeah, it's been really cool to be in the seat, the hot seat, if you will, on most days. But if you can't handle the heat, it's not for everybody. Let's just say that, right?
Nah, dude. Well, I'm very pumped up to see what you accomplish before the year ends. I think Christmas
Sure,
this year is going to be popping. So,
absolutely. So I hope another business leader, icon of his industry over here.
Yeah, we had a
Uh,
legendary strategy meeting that night. I will not forget that. Uh,
yes, we did. I mean, almost to the wee morning, man. Holy smokes.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh. Well, with that
yeah,
said, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go. I know you're a busy man. Thanks so much for hopping on. And for the people that are interested into getting into your own header product position, absolutely go ahead and click on the link to the Side Hustle School access. James is also there too. He is a participatory member. Ask your questions away, but it's about like once you actually have a brand, it's just so much easier to go ahead and break into this. James, I'll talk to you later, man. Thank you.
absolutely. Thank you.